Sometimes the simplest routines can make the biggest difference, especially for those of us who are entering our late 70s or 80s. Have you ever noticed that it's easier to forget to drink water as the years pass? Or that by the time thirst strikes, you're already feeling a bit lightheaded or fatigued? These small hints can be signs of dehydration, a challenge that becomes more common and more serious as we age. Perhaps you felt the effects: dry mouth, sluggishness, or even dizziness that seems to come out of nowhere. There's a good reason for this. Our bodies simply don't store or conserve water as efficiently in our later years. And on top of that, the mechanism that alerts us to drink can become less reliable. But here's the positive side. There's a lot we can do to keep ourselves well hydrated without feeling like we have to force down endless glasses of water all day. It might surprise you to learn that certain fruits can be powerful allies in our quest to stay hydrated. We often hear about the importance of water, but what if the answer also lies in the foods we eat? In fact, these fruits can taste wonderful, add color to your meals, and help maintain stable energy and mood. They're easy on the digestive system, can complement various medications with minimal interference, and, best of all, can spark a sense of joy in everyday meals or snacks. When you discover how effortless and enjoyable it can be to boost your fluid intake through natural, delicious foods, you'll begin to see hydration not as a chore, but as a treat. As we dive into the details of 3 water-packed fruits that can help you stay refreshed, you may find yourself pleasantly surprised by how many misconceptions exist around hydration after 80. Many older adults assume that persistent thirst is the only sign to watch for, or that it's enough to sip water occasionally throughout the day. Some worry about frequent bathroom trips, so they try to limit fluid intake. But from my years guiding older adults through gentle dietary adjustments, I've seen time and time again that there's a more holistic approach, one that embraces nutrition, personal preferences, and a kind of playfulness with your meals that can make a world of difference. I invite you to follow along as we explore each of these fruits in detail. You'll learn about an 82-year-old gentleman who rediscovered his energy simply by adding a little fruit to his breakfast. You'll hear about a 79-year-old widow who found a new hobby in blending fruit smoothies and how it changed the way she felt, both physically and emotionally. By the end, you'll have a handful of practical tips for incorporating these water-packed options into your life, whether you live on your own, in a retirement community, or with family. You might even find that your entire perspective on hydration shifts from something I should do to something I truly enjoy doing. Before we jump in, I want to emphasize that while I've spent many years focusing on holistic wellness for older adults, I'm not here to replace any recommendations from your personal healthcare provider. Think of this as a friendly conversation grounded in practical experience and an understanding of how our bodies and minds evolve with age. Your doctor or dietitian knows your individual medical history best, so any major dietary change is worth running by them. Still, the strategies we're about to discuss are gentle, adaptable, and can often fit comfortably into a variety of health plans. At this point, you might be nodding in agreement or feeling a bit skeptical. Could adding a few fruits really help you stay hydrated and feel better overall? I encourage you to keep an open mind. Join me on this journey, and together we'll discover just how transformative these small changes can be. In fact, I'd love to know your current favorite fruit or snack. If you feel inspired, share it aloud or jot it down for yourself as we go. By the time we finish, I hope you'll have a newfound excitement about enjoying nature's delicious bounty and supporting your body's need for water in the process. Let's begin by challenging one of the most common misunderstandings about hydration after 80. The idea that water alone is the only factor that matters. Because once we look closer, we'll see that nature has already provided us with some remarkably simple ways to keep ourselves feeling balanced, comforted, and even a bit pampered through the foods we choose. It's not uncommon to hear seniors say, "I've never been one to drink much water, and I'm fine." Yet as we get older, our daily habits can catch up with us in unexpected ways. For instance, let's look at a gentleman named Harold, age 82, who faithfully took 1 glass of water in the morning and assumed that was all he needed, until he found himself feeling chronically tired. He didn't link this fatigue to hydration at first. He blamed his age. But when his granddaughter, who'd been studying nutrition, visited him, she noticed he had only a small water bottle in the fridge. With some gentle encouragement, she got him interested in adding a few hydrating fruits to his breakfast. That led to a significant shift in his overall energy. The first fruit Harold tried was watermelon. We often think of watermelon as a summertime treat for picnics and barbecues, but it holds surprising benefits for seniors looking to boost their fluid intake. Watermelon is about 92% water, making it one of the most hydrating fruits available. Harold initially believed that watermelon was just a sugary snack, better left for kids, but emerging perspectives on hydration tell us that natural fruit sugars, balanced by water content and fiber, offer a slow, steady energy release. This gentle boost can be especially supportive for older adults whose bodies may not metabolize foods as swiftly as they once did. Additionally, the fiber in watermelon can be helpful in promoting regular digestion, which can become a concern for many seniors. Most people find watermelon easy to chew, so it doesn't pose a major challenge for those with dentures or sensitive teeth, though you can always blend it into a smoothie if biting into slices feels uncomfortable. If you're new to watermelon or haven't had it in ages, here's a simple approach. Start by cutting it into bite-sized cubes and keeping them chilled in a container. Think of it as a refreshing snack to reach for whenever you open the fridge. Harold found that placing a small bowl of watermelon cubes on his kitchen table encouraged him to eat them throughout the morning, rather than forcing himself to chug multiple glasses of water. Another tip is to transform watermelon into a light salad by adding fresh mint and a sprinkle of feta cheese. The result is a sweet and salty mix that can stimulate appetite, which in itself can sometimes wane in our later decades. The emotional benefits can be just as compelling as the physical ones. Watermelon's vibrant color and fresh taste often trigger happy memories of picnics or family gatherings. These pleasant associations transform the experience of staying hydrated into something that brings comfort and enjoyment rather than feeling like a tedious chore. Over time, Harold noted that his afternoons weren't as drowsy. He felt more inclined to do small tasks around the house or take a short walk in his neighborhood. This spike in energy had a positive ripple effect. He slept better at night because he'd been moderately active during the day, and when you sleep more soundly, you're more likely to stay clear-headed and balanced. By simply keeping a container of watermelon cubes accessible, Harold had basically turned a difficult challenge, remembering to drink enough water, into a routine that felt almost effortless. He enjoyed it enough to be consistent, and consistency is the hidden key to improving overall well-being in our 80s and beyond. Small, enjoyable steps add up in a big way. Once we start to see the benefits of one water-rich fruit, it's natural to wonder what else might be out there. Another misconception you may have encountered is that all fruit is high in sugar and should therefore be minimized. While managing sugar intake is important, especially for those of us with conditions like diabetes, the natural sugars in whole fruits are generally paired with vital nutrients and water, which work together to support hydration and stable energy. As always, it's wise to keep portion sizes in mind and consult a healthcare provider if you're concerned. But in many cases, the nutritional bonuses these fruits provide, like vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, more than compensate for their moderate natural sugar levels. In fact, these nutrients play significant roles in fighting inflammation, supporting eye health, and promoting healthy skin, which can be especially beneficial later in life when dryness and brittleness are common concerns. A gentle check-in for you. How often do you incorporate fruit into your daily routine right now? Perhaps you've rarely considered fruit a priority, or you only buy it on special occasions. It can help to think of fruit as an essential part of your hydration strategy rather than an optional treat. Sometimes a small perspective shift is all we need to open ourselves up to new, healthier habits. Even if you enjoy the idea of eating more fruit, you might be thinking, but I have trouble chewing, or I'm concerned about acid reflux, or I don't want the extra sugar. These concerns are valid, which is why it's crucial to find fruits and preparation methods that work for you. Watermelon, for example, is soft, gentle on the stomach, and relatively low in acidity. But if that still doesn't appeal, no worries. There are at least 2 more water-packed fruits that can help you maintain better hydration without aggravating common digestive issues. Let's explore the second fruit by looking at Margaret, a 79-year-old widow who used to find hydration advice intimidating. Like many of us, Margaret thought drinking 8 glasses of water each day was non-negotiable. But after multiple late-night trips to the bathroom, she decided to ease back on her fluid intake. That choice, however, left her feeling drained and experiencing headaches. During a routine visit to a nutrition workshop at her local senior center, Margaret discovered that she could eat her water through certain fruits, and one that quickly captured her heart was cantaloupe. Cantaloupe, also known as muskmelon, contains a high percentage of water, roughly 90%. It also supplies a generous dose of vitamin A and vitamin C, vital for immune function, healthy skin, and proper eyesight. But it was the flavor and versatility that really drew Margaret in. Initially, she assumed cantaloupe might aggravate her acid reflux, but she learned that cantaloupe is actually considered relatively low acid compared to citrus fruits. The result, she could enjoy a sweet, hydrating snack without the discomfort she sometimes felt after eating pineapples or tomatoes. One of Margaret's misconceptions was that melons were only for breakfast or summer picnics. However, she soon found that blending cantaloupe into a simple smoothie gave her a comforting treat in the afternoon. It also alleviated her worry about chewing issues. By adding a bit of low-fat yogurt, some spinach leaves for an extra nutrient boost, and maybe a spoonful of oats, she created a creamy drink she could sip leisurely, one that kept her body replenished without overwhelming her bladder. This is where the emotional benefits became evident. She felt more relaxed knowing she could maintain good hydration levels without constantly refilling her glass or dealing with frequent nighttime bathroom visits. And that bit of control over her daily choices brought a subtle confidence. I may be 79, she'd say, but I still get to decide what works for me. Another way Margaret discovered cantaloupe could fit into her life was by pairing it with savory foods. She'd wrap thin slices of prosciutto or turkey around cubes of cantaloupe for a delightful balance of sweet and salty flavors. This simple appetizer often became a conversation starter with friends who visited, turning it into a social snack that she genuinely looked forward to offering. It can be challenging in our later years to maintain social ties and stay engaged, so having small traditions or recipes to share becomes an opportunity for connection. The more we tie healthy eating to pleasant social experiences, the easier it is to sustain good habits over time. Physically, Margaret noticed that her headaches began to subside, and her energy level stabilized. She started adding brief walks to her routine, just a few minutes around the block each day. Over a few months, her stamina improved enough that she was able to make it through many of her daily tasks without feeling fatigued or dizzy. While it may sound like a minor victory in the grand scheme, for Margaret, these achievements meant she was living life more on her own terms. She felt less restricted by her body's limitations, and her mood lifted. Her story highlights the synergy between physical and emotional well-being. When we address our needs in a way that feels nurturing rather than burdensome, we open the door to a more fulfilling life, even in our 70s, 80s, and beyond. If you've been following along, you might be thinking, this sounds great, but is it enough? The truth is, hydration is rarely just about one food or one method. It's about layering multiple strategies that suit your lifestyle. However, adding water-rich fruits can give a pleasant boost to your daily fluid intake and complement any health advice you're already following. The real magic is that these fruits encourage you to hydrate in a gentle, consistent way, reducing the likelihood of those sudden drops in energy or those acute moments of feeling parched. Before we move on to the next fruit, take a moment to consider whether melon might fit into your life. Are you the sort of person who would enjoy a smoothie? Or perhaps you'd prefer a refreshing fruit salad during lunch. Maybe you'd like to try the prosciutto-cantaloupe combination. Whatever the approach, remember that there's no single right answer. The key is to find what makes you feel both physically comfortable and emotionally satisfied. At this point, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried any creative ways of including fruit in your meals or snacks? Sometimes hearing others share their simple recipes or snack ideas can spark a whole new approach we hadn't considered. Feel free to note any ideas that come to mind. You can always refine or experiment with them later. Having covered two major hydration heroes, watermelon and cantaloupe, it's time to address another senior misconception, that fruits with bright colors or sweet flavors must always be avoided for fear of sugar spikes or digestive problems. While individual health conditions do matter, Especially if you're on medications for diabetes or blood pressure, we often overlook the importance of moderation and pairing. Many water-rich fruits can be balanced with proteins or healthy fats to minimize any sudden impact on blood sugar. That brings us to one of the most beloved yet misunderstood berries around, strawberries. Packed with water, strawberries are about 91% water. These brightly colored gems are more than just a topping for shortcake. For many seniors, strawberries can provide a burst of sweetness that satisfies a sweet tooth without resorting to pastries or candy. Yet there's a lingering concern that strawberries might be too sugary or too acidic. In truth, strawberries have relatively modest sugar content and a lower acidity level than lemons, limes, or even some tomatoes. Plus, they bring valuable nutrients to the table. Vitamin C for immune support, manganese for bone health, and antioxidants that help combat oxidative stress in the body. These features can be particularly helpful if you're dealing with age-related vulnerabilities. Consider Frank, an 85-year-old living in a retirement community. He was convinced that fruit, particularly something sweet like strawberries, would wreak havoc on his blood sugar. Diagnosed with prediabetes, Frank had become overly cautious. He cut out most fruit and, as a result, found himself craving sugary snacks more than ever, an ironic twist that led him to indulge in cookies late at night. During a nutrition seminar at his community center, Frank learned that combining strawberries with a source of protein, like Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, could help slow the absorption of sugars. Curious, he tried a bowl of sliced strawberries mixed with cottage cheese for breakfast. He quickly noticed that it satisfied his sweet cravings without spiking his blood glucose. Over time, this small meal became his morning staple. Strawberries also offer hydration benefits because their high water content contributes to your overall fluid intake. After a few weeks of regularly including strawberries, Frank reported fewer sugar cravings, less mindless snacking on cookies, and a more stable energy level throughout the day. What he initially perceived as a risky indulgence turned out to be a strategic way to nourish his body while simultaneously managing hydration. On an emotional level, Frank felt relieved to find something that genuinely tasted good and aligned with the dietary guidance he'd been following. It can be incredibly empowering to realize that you don't have to eliminate all enjoyable foods just because you have a particular health condition. If you have trouble chewing, slicing strawberries into smaller pieces or blending them into a smoothie can help. You can also pop them into the freezer for a refreshing snack, almost like a natural popsicle. Keep in mind that some older adults with certain medication regimens, especially blood thinners, should be cautious about excessive intake of vitamin K-rich foods, more common in leafy greens, or high vitamin C in certain scenarios. This is why it's always wise to check in with your healthcare provider if you're making significant dietary changes. Still, most people find that moderate amounts of strawberries fit comfortably within a balanced plan. While the physical benefits of including strawberries revolve around hydration, nutrient density, and stable energy, the emotional upsides can't be overlooked. Strawberries often evoke memories of springtime outings or homemade desserts. Enjoying a strawberry smoothie or a fresh bowl of strawberries and yogurt can bring a sense of nostalgia, comfort, and even a bit of luxury into an otherwise routine day. As we age, these small joys can go a long way toward enhancing our sense of well-being and encouraging consistent self-care. We've now looked at watermelon, cantaloupe, and strawberries, 3 fruits that can substantially increase your hydration levels. Each one has a high water content, offers valuable nutrients, and can be enjoyed in various forms to accommodate chewing difficulties, medication interactions, or personal taste preferences. You might find yourself drawn to one more than the others, or maybe you'll rotate among all 3 depending on the season. The key takeaway is that your diet can do more than simply satisfy hunger. It can actively support your hydration and energy needs in a way that feels good. One final consideration is how these fruits can fit into your broader daily life. For instance, if you find it challenging to navigate grocery stores, many senior-focused services can deliver fresh produce directly to your home. You could also look for pre-cut fruit options, although they may cost a bit more. The convenience factor can be worth it if it encourages you to eat these foods regularly. Similarly, if you live with family or have a friend who also wants to stay hydrated, you can make preparing fruit a shared activity. Simple routines like cutting melon together or blending a smoothie can foster connection and make healthy habits more fun. Now that we've explored some powerful water-rich fruits, let's reflect on where this journey can lead us. The real transformation doesn't happen overnight. It takes a bit of curiosity and a willingness to test new habits, like keeping a bowl of fruit cubes in the fridge or adding a handful of strawberries to your morning cereal. Yet as you gradually incorporate these practices, you may notice small shifts. You wake up with less dryness in your mouth, you feel more alert during the day, or you have the stamina to indulge in an extra hour of gardening. Over the weeks and months, these subtle changes accumulate, and you realize you're living with a renewed sense of ease and vitality. While there's no one-size-fits-all diet plan for seniors, or for anyone really, the beauty of focusing on water-rich fruits is their adaptability. There's room to tailor serving sizes, combinations with other foods, and timing throughout the day. And with each enjoyable bite, you're not only replenishing fluids, but also investing in a sense of well-being that resonates through your entire day. By now, you can probably envision at least one way to integrate these fruits into your life. Maybe you'll start with that bowl of watermelon cubes on the kitchen counter, or a quick strawberry smoothie before your daily walk. Maybe you'll experiment with cantaloupe in a savory dish. Whichever route you take, remember that the most effective lifestyle changes are the ones that you can sustain and truly savor. If you're feeling motivated, here's a gentle push. Try one new fruit-based hydration tip this week. Whether it's a snack, a smoothie, or a light salad, give it a fair shot. Notice how it makes you feel. And most importantly, let this be a reminder that you can take meaningful steps to care for yourself at any age. In fact, it's never too late to discover new ways to support your body and mind. As we near the end of our time together, let's recap what we've covered and look at the possibilities ahead. Hydration after 80 is a multifaceted issue, but incorporating water-rich fruits like watermelon, cantaloupe, and strawberries can serve as a delightful first step toward better health. Beyond just preventing symptoms like dizziness or fatigue, proper hydration can help maintain more stable blood pressure, assist with digestion, and even support better sleep. When you think about it, these are the foundational elements of overall wellness. A small change in one area can have a ripple effect, leading to improved energy, mood, and quality of life. The best part is that none of this requires complicated meal plans or expensive supplements. All it takes is an openness to trying new habits and finding pleasure in simple foods. If you worry about potential conflicts with your medications or underlying health conditions, that's when it's important to loop in your healthcare provider. Let them know you're interested in increasing your fruit intake for hydration and ask for any guidelines specific to you. Often they'll have additional suggestions or reassurance to share. Now there's a subtle but vital urgency here. Dehydration in older adults can escalate quickly, leading to issues like kidney problems, urinary tract infections, or even confusion and falls. Addressing it proactively is far easier than managing it after complications arise. Still, there's no need to feel alarmed if you've been neglecting your fluid intake. Think of this as your gentle invitation to start fresh. With each fruit salad, smoothie, or chilled fruit bowl, you're literally nourishing your cells in a way that honors both your physical needs and your enjoyment of life's simple pleasures. At this juncture, it's time for a personal call to action. Pick a level of engagement that suits your comfort zone. 1. The simplest step. Jot down one fruit you'd like to try this week. Commit to buying it or asking a loved one to help you get it. 2. A more active step. Explore at least 2 new fruit-centric recipes, something like a melon smoothie or a strawberry and yogurt parfait. 3. A community step. If you have friends or neighbors who also want to stay hydrated, form a small group and share your experiences, or even swap your favorite fruit-based dishes. No matter which path you choose, remember that every small effort adds up. You're planting seeds for better hydration and health, and those seeds can flourish into a routine that keeps you feeling more vibrant, independent, and content. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with an empowering message. You have the wisdom and the agency to shape your own well-being at any age. Yes, our bodies change as the years go by, but these changes don't have to mean giving up on the joys of tasty, refreshing foods. By being mindful Experimenting with these hydrating fruits and staying curious about your own needs, you're taking proactive steps to live a fuller, more comfortable life. And that's worth celebrating. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I genuinely believe that simple shifts in our daily habits, like adding water-packed fruits, can bring a new sense of ease, connection, and delight. You've got this. Keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, staying hydrated doesn't have to be a chore when it can be a delicious part of your day.